Hi there, and welcome to episode. You know very well that I can't swear in the first, I think it's 15 seconds because of YouTube revenue for our charity. So just wait. If you could just fucking not. If you could not, please. They both know I'm angry. It's not been a good morning. All the text failed. I've cut my thumb on a piece of glass and then put it back on the carpet, so it's hiding for me to probably cut my foot on. It's just amazing. Yeah, carpet glass. Anyway, welcome to episode 76 of the ADHD Adults. I'm James Brown, the man who gets sad just by going into the seasonal aisle in Tesco. And as usual, I'm joined by the least affective man ever, Alex Connor. And with a woman rapidly collecting disorders, Mrs. ADHD. Hi, Alex.
Hi. Oh.
Hello, James. Hello. Thank you for noticing me.
What?
What
are you doing?
No, well, right. So I would guess that's the donkey from Eeyore. I would guess that's Eeyore, and that's because he was sad. And that's because he was sad, Al.
Yes, and today's episode is about SAD, James. I'm making light of a genuine condition. I just realised a major depressive condition. I apologise.
Well, that's the point I was clumsily making. Hi, Sam. I know you've already said hello.
Hi. I love that when Alex raises his hand, you can't see it.
I'm just not looking at him. I'm just not looking at him. I can't today. I just can't.
Not today.
Right. So how are you, Sam? First,
I'm actually all right. Like genuinely.
Bloody hell.
Okay. Well,
I know. I know. It's been a while.
I mean, it's less than a week from my life's always going to be shit. I'm always sad. Everything's rubbish. I'm never going to be happy. This is our lives now.
Can I ask a hormonal question, Sam? This is probably inappropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's just the last dregs, so I'm on the home straight.
Brilliant. And
wow.
Alex, how are you, Alex?
I was all right. No, I am. I'm excellent. Thank you. Really well. Normalizing talk about periods is important to us. We're still growing. I haven't checked the actual numbers, but I don't know how. James sends me Morse code every now and then with them on. It's a lot, is all I'm saying. It's a lot. We hit essentially over 1 million listens. It's sort of, they do it on down. It's very confusing. I don't know. Anywho, one of them sent us a letter, James.
Oh.
Just carry on.
It's from Robert from Kidderminster.
See, the thing is, I kind of want to be grumpy. I know that I'm the monster, etc. But I do like that we're still doing this.
Yeah, me too.
Lovely.
It says, "I listened to your podcast." I'm just pretending he writes them now. I've forgotten the box under the bed thing. I listened to your podcast on headaches. And Alex, your paracetamol joke was a triumph. Have you thought about just going it alone with that sort of material? Thanks, Robert. I have, yes.
Utter shite.
It was. I have been sent a real letter though.
Go on, far away.
This is from Sam. I have checked. I asked if I could read it out, but I didn't ask for the name. But I figure that's okay. And it was. I want a massive.
Yeah, from Mrs. ADHD. Have you written into the show?
Yeah.
No, she's AKA not Mrs. ADHD. She's written.
Okay.
I want to say a massive thank you to you guys. I've been listening to your podcast since before I had my diagnosis last November. It has just the right balance of scientific knowledge, linking to real life experiences, laughs, insults and swearing to keep me interested. Okay, maybe not quite enough insults and swearing. I mean, my God, really? It's really helped me recognise a lot of my odd behaviours through life all came from ADHD. Currently working towards acceptance, doesn't say blah, blah, blah. And that the odd parts about me I love wouldn't be there without the annoying parts. I read that out poorly. I'm currently blogging my experiences with ADHD as ND and NT people keep encouraging me to write more. How lovely. I'm also sorry for your loss, James, and this is ADHD. I lost my dad when I was in my 20s, 15 years ago. And in retrospect, know how difficult and confusing ADHD has made it. I still occasionally wake up and I've forgotten that he died. It doesn't make me feel sad anymore when it happens, just mild irritation. I love that bit. Please keep doing more. All the best, Sam, AKA not. This is ADHD.
Thank you, Sam. It was lovely.
Oh,
Yeah, really lovely. I didn't talk about it, but I frequently think my granddad's alive in my dreams, and I loved him, and I can't. It's horrible. It's really, really horrible still, like 30 years on. Okay, internationally, James, you're not going to believe it. We've increased by...
I'm not. I might. Go on, sorry.
Hang on. I'm on the calculator. One country.
wow.
And we're going to say the new one is, the next country is Austria, because I forgot to look up a country and I can already speak German. So we'd really like to say eine große Danke und willkommen to our Austrian listener.
Just one.
We do that every time, Sam. That's been going on for 76 episodes now.
Is that right?
Yeah, we always say to our, and then one listener, or like literally always, and you've listened to all of them.
Apologies if I went a bit quiet then, but I was hyper-focusing on proving Alex wrong, because in the last week you said 142 countries, and that was Vanuatu. So it's 143 countries if we've magically gone up by one this week, Alex.
I hate you so much. Oh, no, I've let the mask slip. I love you, James.
I think it slipped a long time ago. Anyway, that was shit, Alex. Shit. So, as usual, this giant Sports Direct mug that nobody remembers buying or fucking ever wanting of a podcast is a tragedy in 3 parts. We choose a theme. Last week was about ADHD and my little headaches that I get.
I like that it's highlighted too.
Yeah, exactly, because it's Alex just pointing out the fact that he's diminishing my lived experience of having lots of pain. And this week we're talking about something which a few people have asked about. We haven't put their names down for some reason. And that is pretty timely at this time of year, in brackets, winter. The link between ADHD and seasonal affective disorder, or S.A.D. or S.A.D. The 3 parts, as usual, include the relentless build that is evidence-based psychoeducation about ADHD.
Psychoedge. Oh, that's going on the list.
Psychoedge.
It says about ADHD.
Enough for the list.
It says that about ADHD and festive seasons, Al. Have you not changed that part of the script either? This is a shit. This is when you do. When I trust you, when you say, "I'll write that one," this is what happens. You've got the thing.
A Christmas one, and you wouldn't let me do it because the metrics don't bang.
But then we still did one.
We didn't. We did a New Year one.
We did.
You wouldn't even let me say.
No,
we didn't do a Christmas one because someone forgot.
This is so entertaining for our listeners. Apologies. Welcome to James and Alex argue about who fucks up the script more. It's Alex, obviously.
It's all right. We can edit in post, whatever that means.
Don't you dare. Anyway, 3 parts include Relentless Build. It's evidence-based psychoeducation about ADHD and S.A.D. by Alex the Psycho, Education Monkey. Our personal reflections on S.A.D. And the 3rd and final bit will be take your pick, top tips, spunk trumping, whatever you want to call it now. It's probably at my expense. So, Alex, obviously you make me sad throughout the year. What are you going to ruin today?
Thanks, James. Okay, first of all, seasonal affective disorder is established in the DSM-5 Manual of Psychiatric Disorders. Unlike a lot of things connected or maybe connected with ADHD, they're off, like, for example, imposter syndrome. It isn't like a real medical condition, but we experience it, whereas SAD is, although they've gone with the very less snappy major depressive disorder with seasonal pattern. I quite like it. Essentially, this is a straight form of depression that comes and goes, possibly seems linked to the changes in light during the winter months, but also possibly slightly due to psychological feelings about the wintertime itself, or it may be including something else. Is that scientific enough? As with other depression characteristics, S.A.D. can be a persistent low mood or loss of pleasure or interest in normal everyday activities. So irritability, despair, lethargy, worthlessness, and oversleeping. Tuesday, James. Sometimes this is linked to gained weight, craving carbohydrates. Could also be a reduced concentration or reduced libido.
That's Wednesday.
Yeah. I just like the opportunity for a reduced libido. If you're struggling, I've got little kids. If you're struggling to cope,
what? Ding.
I'm sorry. My God, that's
Alex, what a place to bear your inner demons.
Because when you, oh God, I'm cancelled again. This is worse than when I did Pidgin English. I am. Apologies, because, you know, when you've got little children, you are very, very, very busy. I can't, I'm not even bothering. We'll edit that in post.
That was even worse,
That's
to
worse.
be honest.
Yeah, it's worse. You can't ding those, by the way. That is
I did the first
not
one.
okay.
Did you?
I know. He
Yeah.
did, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, shall I carry on with my cycle?
Yeah, but can I just say, this just sounds like winter. Like everybody feels like this in winter, don't they?
I love it. I love winter.
Really?
Yeah, I'm really
Yeah,
positive.
Oh,
Yeah,
right. Okay,
I
then.
need. Yeah,
Maybe
we'll talk
I
about
have
this.
Carry on.
Of course you do. Yes, possible. No, I really do. We'll talk about why I get a lot of vitamin D on purpose for that exact reason.
Okay.
If you are struggling to cope with these symptoms, seasonal symptoms, or at any time of the year, firstly, please discuss this with your doctor. It is an illness. It is not shameful or weak, just a medical thing like a broken leg. The apparent reason for seasonal affective disorder, or SAD, is that the reduced sunlight and maybe lower temperatures may have psychological effects on our mood, but they definitely also change sleep hormones like melatonin, so light changes melatonin levels, but also happiness hormones. I've called them that, James. That's annoying, isn't it? Not accurate. Like serotonin, as one of the hormones, as activity is increased by lisdexamfetamine. Both of those, serotonin and melatonin, are partly controlled by your natural body clock or circadian rhythm, something that is also affected by light levels to a certain extent. So the link here between ADHD and your circadian rhythm is not completely unreasonable.
I think by saying ADHD, you've just ruined the next joke. So we'll move on to the next bit. Because you literally just said ADHD. Yeah, you have. Again, you are on fire today, Alex, I've got to say. We'll pretend. Anyway, we'll pretend. So imagine this is
I didn't. I forgot to. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. No. So, I mean, what about ADHD, Adam? By the way, I don't have a Brummie accent.
If you go back to our 76 episodes, do you think there's a single scripted joke that ever actually works? It's only the ad-libs. Okay, so serotonin, melatonin, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we all know that people with ADHD are massively more likely to experience depression than people without ADHD, and that SAD is considered one form of major depression. So it's highly likely, and some survey data from the US also suggests it may be as high as 30% of ADHD people reporting also having seasonal affective disorder.
I really need my glasses. I can't read any of that. So, in the words of one person that once said to me about my depressive disorder, "Oh, cheer up." Yeah. So, how do we fix it, Al? What works?
Are you channeling Coldplay, our favourite singer? It's our song, innit? Coldplay Fix You.
Fucking
what?
hell.
I don't even know what that is.
It's another thing to annoy me is Alex will talk about really vapid, bland bands saying, "Oh no, Coldplay." Put Keen on, and they're just. I mean, it's incredible, isn't it? And he just does it to wind me up.
I don't do that on the podcast, do I? That's just real life. I've never mentioned that. I do that.
So again, apologies for interrupting the psychoeducation. When we did one of the talks, I will talk about talking about the talks on Thursday because we had a brilliant comment on YouTube. As we were walking from the hotel to the venue, Alex did them that. I mean, every step was something to annoy me. Told me something which we'll talk about later on. Then pointed out a 16th century building. He was wearing earmuffs deliberately just to annoy me, and it got to the point where I almost couldn't see or hear. I was so angry, and the glee on his face. And I'm the monster. I'm the monster. Carry on, Al.
I was wearing my older earmuffs to annoy you. It isn't an exact science how to fix these things, and the evidence is very mixed, but the main approaches, apart from antidepressants, which do almost certainly help many, many people, are you ready? Boring list alert. Yeah. Natural sunlight, vitamin D, exercising regularly, boo, stress management. Now, light therapy from a special lamp or light box is really popular. Yeah. But if you, and it's a big book, James. If you look at the NICE guidelines, there isn't really a lot of evidence that is effective. It doesn't hurt though, really, unless you've got epilepsy or similar. And some studies were positive, especially if you use absolutely first thing in the morning. talking therapies like CBT, etc. Other therapies are available. And very interestingly, the ADHD medication itself might help. Lisdex, because it improves serotonin activity, but interestingly also methylphenidate, which doesn't seem to have serotonin activity. That study was in children on methylphenidate, though. There you go.
Interestingly or not, methylphenidate is, I'm going to get this wrong, serotonergic in some parts of the brain, but normally the more ancient parts of the brain.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
I'm going to look that up. Thank you.
I don't know what that means.
Okay.
So it activates serotonin as well as the dopamine and noradrenaline, and that's what Lisdex does, all three. So
yeah, but in the kind of more
Prozac
ancient,
what are the more ancient parts of the brain?
So things like the medulla of the pons, the hindbrain, the bit that alligators have, but we have this outer bit, which is why most of us, apart from Alex, are allowed to or enabled to have, conscious thoughts and make decisions, etc.
Think of the brain as like an onion, and it starts really small and gets bigger, but there's lots of connections from the outside to the inside with the brain, so it's not just
apart from when Alex cuts into somebody's brain, he doesn't cry. Anyway, thanks for that, Al.
That's really good.
I'm sadder now for it, so we're going to take a break and we'll be back in part 2. Alex, hi.
Aight. What's up? Hello, Governor.
Welcome back to episode 76 of the ADHD Adults podcast. This week we're talking about ADHD and SAD, or SAD. And now it's time for personal reflections on SAD.
Fucking nailed it. She's nailed it.
Oh, that was close, wasn't it?
We all heard the little hesitation on now. Now it's time for me to remember.
As I was trying to find the script, yeah.
So proud of you. Who do you want to go first, Sam? Suppose you didn't nail it completely.
James, go on.
Ruined it.
Okay. This is an interesting one because obviously I normally have all the things, and every week I'll say, yeah, this is a big problem for me. I've never been diagnosed with seasonal affective disorder. If I try and look back over my life to periods when I have had low mood, I don't think they have that seasonal pattern. Now, obviously, I don't like dark mornings. I feel a little bit not sad, but I mean, nobody likes waking up in the dark and then getting home from work, or if you work from home, finishing work in the dark. I think that can generally affect my mood, but I certainly wouldn't say to the point that I become low in mood. But I have cyclothymia, which is one of the 4 bipolar conditions. And what that means is that my mood is very unstable, well, before medication anyway. And what I did before this episode, actually, Al, because I prepared, unlike you, is that I checked my mood diary. So I looked over the last 2 years where I've been keeping a daily mood score, and there was no difference between summer and winter. And in fact, I had more trigger warning clacks on episodes of suicidal ideation during the summer than I did during the winter, but that's because we were going to Ibiza, and that is a trigger for me. So I'm all over the place all fucking year round. I win.
You are.
Yeah.
I bet your mood diaries just looks like a binary code, doesn't it?
Pretty much, yeah. Sam, what about you?
I don't know. I mean, I think I love the sun, and I feel like I'm a solar battery, and I get charged up by the sun. And I really miss it in the winter, and I hate that we don't go out for walks and we're not outside as much. But I don't know whether it is actually the sun or whether it's just the fact that it's winter and I do less and it's cold and it's shit and it's dark all the time. Yeah, so I'm not sure.
I would say as an observer who observes you quite a lot, not in a creepy way, obviously. I would say your mood is worse. Your mood is worse in the winter than it is in the summer. But I think it's difficult to tease out whether that is because, she genuinely does. How? Because of her ADHD. But Sam can just lie in the sun for 8 hours reading a book, whereas after 5 minutes, my brain is screaming, do something. And she loves
What's
it.
The reward?
Because I'm lying outside and I'm looking at little spiders and there's birds and there's the sun. And I'm just lying there thinking about how wonderful life is. I just love it.
So there's a lot to there's a lot of different sort of good distractions, positive distractions. That's how you make. Because for me, it feels like one thing, and therefore I get really itchy and irritable because I've got to get up and do something. But
I just lie there, but grateful. Fat crabs, yeah. Fat crabs made a comeback.
They have, yeah. I'm bringing it back. Yeah, no, I think your mood is definitely better in the summer. But again, whether that's just because you're doing more things you enjoy, and during the winter because you're not doing things you enjoy, you don't fucking shut up about it. I'm not sure which it is. But that's an external n=1 observation. Alex,
one of my favourite things about our personal reflections is that Sam says something and James has to go, "Oh, every time you have to interject because she hasn't got any metacognition whatsoever."
No, at all.
We could do one about people called Sam, and she'd say, "No, this isn't really me." That's amazing. Right, you two. In the spirit of metacognition,
are you not reflecting?
Yeah, I am. I'm about to.
Oh, okay, sorry. Oh,
nobody likes dark mornings and getting back from work in the dark, James. I love both of those things. They do.
Oh,
Sam, everybody hates the cold and the things. I love it. Love this time of year.
Wow. Oh.
And the reason I think is one of the reasons is because I get out in it because I have to, because I'm really, really. I also really need a lot of light. Not
yeah. And bodies decompose slower in the cold as well, so he's got more time to get away with it, hasn't he?
Oh, you have to have a sharp spade at this time of year. I need the light, not necessarily. I'd much rather it was sunny because that's brilliant. But when it's this weather, you can put a fire on, or you can put all the lights on, and it's twinkly. And no, I really, really like it as long as I get an absolute bare minimum of 30 minutes outside. Less than that, and I'm starting to feel ill, and I've noticed it. And that isn't S.A.D, but it's effectively everybody responds to light in a slightly similar way because we're human plants. And it's important to get that vitamin D.
So in summary, then, none of us have S.A.D, and none of us have relevant personal reflections about S.A.D.
Yeah, that's.
I did think I had it for a long time, and then realised I was an alcoholic drinking more in the winter. Made me sad.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who chose this? Who chose this? Oh no, we'll wait for Thursday for that, can't we?
Yeah,
but we did the psycho edge. We did the psycho edge, though, didn't we?
Yeah, we did the psycho edge. Yes, Alex, we did. Right, time for what's written in the script as the shittest game ever. Obviously, you can tell by now it's Alex's script because it's all wrong. So you've got two choices as usual: tea/milk and glasses.
Tea/milk. That's my morning routine right there. And the other one, what was the other one?
Glasses.
Why have I written them down? I've literally written tea/milk and glasses on a piece of paper.
You always write them down.
Yeah, but not that. That doesn't make any sense. I'll have tea/milk, please.
Bleak, Jesus Christ. I mean, no, I'll leave it, James. Leave it. It's okay. Right. So, everyone knows my struggles with making a cup of tea. It's not, a skill of mine. And obviously, I cocked it up the other day, but it was more the milk than the tea. For once, I boiled the water and poured it onto the tea bag. So what did I get wrong with the milk, Al? So, did I pour the milk into the container where the tea bags are kept? Because I was a bit confused. You've seen the container where the tea bags are kept, haven't you? Because you couldn't open it. It's got a lid that children can open. And Alex was like, how did you open this? You lift the lid off, Al.
I thought that was a private thing. I didn't know we were sharing. Okay.
Option 2 is, did I pour fruit juice into the tea instead of milk?
Oh.
We've only got 2, have I?
No. Oh, it says that every week now. And option 3 is...
the other one.
Option 3 is, having let the milk go off, I didn't notice, put it in the tea, and made myself vomit a little bit into my mouth.
Oh God, that's made me feel
And when
sick.
was this, James?
This was just before you came to visit, actually.
Do you know what I think? I think I don't think it's milk in the container because the lid's on so tight it's almost physically impossible to get it off.
I knew you were going to say that.
I don't think it was vomit milk because you have that red top milk that's essentially just water and it'll take 3 months to go off awfulness. So I think you've put fruit juice in your tea like an
I
idiot.
can tell it's vomit milk.
Oh, yeah. Am I winning, James, for the year?
Yes,
Oh
you're winning for the years 3-2.
No.
Yes.
Oh, Al, well done.
We have a
Well
carton
done.
of I've started to make fruit smoothies because I'm really unhealthy and I use a cheap apple concentrated apple juice in a carton that's exactly the same size and shape but not color as the milk, and I just grabbed the wrong one and poured it into my tea.
Wow, I've done the exact same thing before.
3-2. I'm devastated.
Wow.
And on that note, which I'm sure most people are shaking their heads in disbelief at, we'll take a break and we'll come back for spunk trumping. I don't know. See you in a bit.
Get in.
Spunk trumping.
Welcome back to episode 76 of the ADHD Adults podcast, where we're talking about everything ADHD and seasonal affective disorder, but not from personal experience. As always, in part 3, we're spunk trumping. We're giving James's top tipics, always terrible, but today particularly, I imagine, on S.A.D. We might have to just stick with like depression experience and evidence-based tips because apparently none of us have it, although Sam gets sad in the winter, but she doesn't have, this. Go on, Sam. What would your top tips be for a seasonal affective disorder issue?
Just go on holiday a lot in the winter.
Mm-hmm. And your top tips for having no money whatsoever and impulse spending?
Oh God, don't.
Also go on holiday during the winter.
Usually, yeah, but I've got rid of all my credit cards, so now I might as well just die.
So if you can't that's not okay. If you can't go on holiday in the winter, is there any way you cheer yourself up in the dark mornings?
Do you know what? When you were saying when you were saying that you go outside for 30 minutes a day, I think that would probably help me.
Yeah, I do 20 in the morning, 20 at night because it's 30 minutes is too long.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Well, we should do that then. It's going to make you happy, shouldn't we?
Yeah, let's try it.
Okay.
Sometimes I have to have an objective. For a walk itself is one of those problematic areas for a lot of people with ADHD because it's not rewarding enough. So I have to.
No, it is for me.
Is it? Well, definitely do it then. This feels like really obvious.
It does, doesn't it? It's like coaching.
It is. What can help you? I walk. Do that. I like doing it. When are you going to do it? Every day. Thanks for your help, Doc. Amazing. I guess we have to ask James because he's there and it's awkward otherwise. James, what's your spunk trump?
Well, it's nice to be asked for once. Normally that doesn't happen. What I would say is that if you suspect that you do have seasonal affective disorder, then you can track your moods, to be sure. And I know it's a bit of a ball ache, but I actually enjoy what's called self-quantification, so measuring shit about myself every day, like my weight, my food intake, how many steps, on a little spreadsheet, because it lets me know how fat I am and how little exercise I do. But then I use that to motivate myself to try and lose weight. Now, because I have one of the 4 bipolar disorders, cyclothymia, I measure my mood using Bipolar UK. That's a charity for bipolars mood scale of 0 to 10. You don't have to have bipolar to use it, but it's color coded. So the green bits in the middle are what we would call euthymic, so normal mood. The top bits, which go into the yellow and the red, are if you are hypomanic or manic, which you probably won't be. But if you do have lower mood, you can see your numbers literally get lower in the winter. And you can even take an average over the course of the month. And then you can see whether October was a lower number than September and November lower than October. So track your mood if you suspect it's an issue and you want some evidence for getting support. Yeah, and that's my top tip.
It's a good one.
I think it's a really good one, and I'm gonna not add to it, but if you do that mood diary, do it when you're not at your lowest ebb, because it's so easy to give tips, isn't it? And if you're in a depressive period or low, it's impossible. Self-help is almost impossible. So if you can do that mood diary when you're in a time when it's okay, the other thing to do at that point is ask yourself two things really. What are the triggers? What are the positive triggers and negative triggers? Sunlight is, if you've got SAD, sunlight and the daylight issue is going to reduce your mood, but there will be other positive and negative triggers of your mood that add to it. So the only thing really you can do, and getting help from your GP would be absolutely number one. Get talking therapy, get some support. But if you've done that, look for negative triggers and try and avoid them if at all possible. We know avoidance is really difficult, so replacement. So replacing alcohol, for example, with literally anything that isn't equally bad, that makes you feel a little bit of dopamine. And adding positive things. Are there times or things you do or people you're with where you're not quite so low? You don't have to be joyous, just not quite so low. And try and introduce more of those positive triggers into your life. That's easier than avoiding things. Those are my evidence-based top tips because I haven't got it, I'm afraid.
Thanks. Right, I suppose we'll do a product recommendation of the week. This one kind of writes itself, but I'm not sure about the science behind it. One of those lamps salve for seasonal affective disorder. Now I know people anecdotally who say absolutely changed my life. A good friend. I won't name him. Actually, an incredibly good friend. I won't name him because
name him.
Out him. No, I'm not going to because he's someone I genuinely love. But he has a lamp, and I've seen him sit there and use it, and he said it's life changing in terms of his mood. Yeah. So, yeah.
Can I add about the lamps?
Yes.
No, I'll ask off air. I'm evidence-based grumpy, person. I like the sunlight lamps as well because it's a lamp that looks like the sun. I don't need it to be anything more than that. Sometimes it's just nice to have bloody nice things, isn't it? I meant to write that in blue, James, if you're wondering why it's in red.
Yeah, no, I'm wondering why you're reading out the bit that I was meant to. So, yeah.
That was why. Because I got really frustrated about not being able to just have nice things.
If we collate the collective errors you've made in this script so far, Alex, I think that's 4, is it?
There's a lot more than that.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Anyway, no. Pointing out errors.
Yeah.
Ding.
It's the best bit of my day. It doesn't make any sense.
I know it wasn't. I know.
Have you tried one of those lamps? Has it got I like the idea of it waking me up with slow light and then getting bigger. Do you know what I mean? Like sunrise.
No, jeez, what's Samantha doing?
Oh,
if you are not watching on YouTube, you miss so much when it comes to Mrs. ADHD's utter inability to remember she's on video or to sit still in any way, which isn't ableist. It's just a commentary. Anyway, Alex, want to finish your bit about the lamps?
Okay. Just nice to have nice things. The evidence is terrible for them, though. To be honest, it just doesn't work. I don't know why not. Go out in the sun, get your vitamin D, but lamps are nice.
Brilliant. Okay, well, that was episode 76 of the ADHD Adults podcast, where we talked about ADHD and seasonal affective disorder, or SAD. Now, we all do this, obviously, in our spare time. Spare time? What's that? So if you're still listening at this point, why not support the show and the charity, which we use to help others, on the Just Giving link, or the PayPals, or whatnot, or checks, or cash, or, in kind.
Oh, no.
Because otherwise, Alex is going to have to... This is also a Christmas gag, isn't it? This is another gag you didn't take out, so that's 5 mistakes. Otherwise, Alex is going to have to hang from a Christmas tree covered in glitter. You're never touching a script again. Jesus Christ. Anyway, if you want to get in touch, contact us on our Discord group on the socials at ADHD Adults UK. No, at the ADHD Adults. Fuck.
Amazing.
Don't know if you can swear in the last 15 seconds of a YouTube video, but fuck. Anyway, see you soon.
Let's not.
Bye.
Trigger warning, klaxon, 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 big klaxon. Trigger warning, klaxon.